Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I'm out on spy balloon patrol today. Got my super high velocity AP depleted uranium triple sonic rounds loaded up today, so hopefully we'll get a good shot of it and get it taken down, and that way that you can all rest assured that the nation is secure after that. I know, it's funny. I had to say something. It was just too humorous not to. The truth is, though, folks, is that, it's flying across the country. It's all the rage. It's all over the internet. People are taking pictures of it. It almost makes me think of that movie, and I cannot think of the name of it right now. Maybe it was Independence Day, where the aliens, are coming down, and there's all the people up on the rooftop, and they got their phones out, and they're like, yay, come party. Kind of like that. It's kind of the feel that I'm getting from it. I'll be honest with you, I haven't quite determined my personal position on this, of what's probably going on. I suspect there is a lot of distraction, and this is trying to keep us focused on one thing and not the other. But I also suspect that there's definitely some other real things going on directly with this balloon that's flying over. And the reason is because there's just been so much. When you start really putting the puzzle pieces together, that's happening not just with China, but with all of our adversaries. Russia, just in the last couple of days, has made a very overt threat that to be watchful of February 24th, which is the 1-year anniversary of them invading Ukraine, that it's going to be basically some shock and awe, that they're gonna shock the world with what happens. Most people are assuming that's the winter campaign invasion, their advancement. There's been talks that they have well over 500,000 troops amassed, getting ready for that. But to what extent that they are planning to cause that much shock, that much surprise, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Also, North Korea is kind of doing the same thing, because America has been planning and doing some more military exercises in their neck of the woods, and North Korea has said that they will use nuclear weapons. I mean, they're just flat out saying it, that they will use nuclear weapons against the United States if we continue to do these military exercises in their neighborhood. So we're seeing a buildup of threats. Sounds like they're spying on us already there, and that's probably not the Chinese. That's probably our own spying on me. Just kidding, folks. I'm not that paranoid. But seriously, what's going on with the Chinese is something that we should be concerned with and be aware of, because this has been a building threat for a long time. I've said for years that we should have taken China out a long time ago, and I know that shocks a lot of people. They're like, what? You mean we're supposed to just preemptively start a war with China? Well, we should have done it back when they were much smaller and much easier to control. We should have and there's lots of options that we could have done to keep China from getting to the point that they are the threat that they are now, and that they're gaining, they're growing threat. Just a couple of days ago, we had a 4-star general saying that, we will be at war with China by 2025. And then just today, because of all of this, weather balloon, spy balloon stuff going on, I don't know what they're going to call it, spy balloon gate. The director of the Central Intelligence Agency has stated that they believe that China is preparing to invade Taiwan by 2027. Which seems to be a ways off, considering the amount of buildup and threats that they have been doing lately. China is also threatened because there's talk of the current new Speaker of the House going over and visiting Taiwan, and maybe even the Secretary of State. So there's lots of stuff like that kind of going back and forth. And of course, that's all just talk. It's all just talk. This whole, spy balloon thing, I think that there's more to it than what we're hearing. And I say that for the obvious reason that if the story that's being told, if the narrative that they're spinning is in fact purely honest and truthful, absolutely factual, and there's nothing else going on, then we do really have an extremely incompetent military and leadership in this country. Absolutely, completely incompetent. And maybe that is just the truth. Maybe they are just as incompetent as it appears. I mean, we've all believed that they are, but my goodness, that they would allow this thing to go all the way across the United States, knowing that it's doing something, collecting data, whatever it's doing, and they're not doing anything about it. That's definitely incompetent. I don't believe that it's necessarily the standard spy satellite kind of thing. Well, they have spy satellites. Why do they need to launch a balloon over the United States? They can look at anything they want to with the satellites that they already have. It's possible that this is being used to paint targets. I've seen that theory being proposed, and I think it's probably a more likely one. It's also possible that they're simply doing it just to kind of test us, just to see what our response would be. Either way, I do believe that there's a certain threat there that we are going to have to face. I don't think that we're going to see a Red Dawn moment where Chinese troops are parachuting out of planes on us. But we have seen a lot of activity in Mexico over the past few years where there are literally tens of thousands of Chinese, very potential troops amassing in certain parts of Mexico. And there's also been lots of rumors of that going on periodically up in Canada. And then we know for a fact that there's been a lot of Chinese coming into the United States. There's videos, which I don't have right now at the ready, so I guess you can believe me or not. But if you do the digging and research, you can find them, showing literally thousands of pictures of United States government officials, all the way from the federal level down to the state, the county, and even local level. We're talking like mayors and county commissions and state officials pictured with Chinese diplomats that most all of them have been proven to be part of the CCP, which if you're a Chinese diplomat, you pretty much are. That's kind of how it works there. There's been an infiltration for a long time. Over the last few years, there's been a lot of spies that's been discovered, and they've publicly admitted that they've caught them. There's been many more that aren't quite so public. There's been many just this year of Chinese spies that's been caught. And certainly a belief is that there's been plenty that's been coming across the border, whether it's the southern border or flying in because we let them. There is definitely an infiltration going on. They're buying up land in the United States left and right. In fact, the military just yesterday stated that they did believe that some of these facilities that China owns, food processing and farmland facilities, do pose a security risk here in the United States. So what's going on? Well, I don't know. I do know that it looks like that China is building up intelligence on us. We know that they're doing that. We know that they're hacking things all the time. They're collecting data through TikTok and everything else. And so the possibility of them doing things in the future, very much near future, to kind of destabilize us and weaken our infrastructure, is very likely. And then you have to kind of add into all of this equation the fact that it appears to be pretty obvious now that our sitting president and his family are very much entwined with the CCP, along with other people that have been sitting on intelligence committees and all that kind of stuff in our Senate and House. So how infiltrated are we? Was McCarthy right? And no, I'm not talking about the one in the Congress right now. Was he right about the communists infiltrating our government and Hollywood and everything else? I think in a lot of ways he was. And I think that we're seeing that. And at some point, it's probably pretty likely that we're going to pay the price for that. Am I saying that China has the capabilities right now to invade us and take us on? Maybe not. But maybe they do, at least not in the traditional way. Could they knock out our grid? Could they, release another virus? Could they take down our cyber infrastructure? I mean, it was just a couple of weeks ago that the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab was warning on that, saying that there would be a catastrophic cyber attacks within the next year or two. And so how much are they capable of? We're not exactly sure, at least you and I aren't, but I'd say that they're more capable than what we give them credit for. And it certainly seems to be obvious to me that they are posing a much, much bigger threat. And we have to be serious about this, folks. And this should be just one more reason why we're prepping up, why we're stocking up, why we're becoming more self-sufficient and getting ourselves prepared within our families and our communities. Because when it comes down to it, you're not going to be able to depend on the government to protect you for this. They're not going to do it. You can see what they're doing with this big old balloon. They're not protecting us. They're going to protect their own interests, and if it gets bad enough, they've got plenty of bunkers that they'll go hide in. So you and your house needs to get in order, and you need to be protecting and doing the things you need to do to protect your family. Get it in order now. Prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.